Greetings and welcome to Utah. Daze with Jordan the Lion. It begins right now. Well, we've made our way to Salt Lake City, and I always told myself if I made it to Salt Lake City, even just passing through like I am today, there's one thing that I had to see. We're gonna go see the apartment of one of the most lovable loser duos of all time, Lloyd and Harry. Yes, the apartment from Dumb and Dumber. When we first see where Lloyd and Harry live, it's because they both have lost their jobs. We see Harry's shag and wagon mutt cuts dog van come pulling up right here, and Lloyd comes up in a taxi right here in front. They both get out, slam their doors at the same time. They start walking their way in. And in the movie, this is a pretty dingy place. There's like people, just kind of like homeless people strewn everywhere over there. A motorcycle, just dirt and everything over here. People just loaded with stuff. But this is where we see them start talking about how they both lost their jobs. Lloyd says, yeah, they always freak out when you leave the scene of an accident. Harry says, yeah, I got fired too. Lloyd says, man, you are one pathetic loser. No offense. And Harry says, you know what really chaps my ass though? I spent my entire life savings turning my van into a dog. He's like, I spent $200 alone on the security system. Lloyd goes, don't worry, man, it's a shaggin' wagon. Chicks love it. So they didn't actually film in one of the apartments here. They actually filmed in a soundstage for that part. But while they're in here, this is when Lloyd is telling Harry that he met a woman and that she actually talked to him and gave him the tractor beam, just sucked him right in, that he fell in love with her right away. And when Harry's like, what is that? He goes, oh, this is the briefcase she left. He goes, well, what's in it? He goes, I gotta be a real lowlife to go rooting around somebody else's things. He goes, is it locked? Lloyd goes, yeah, really well too. Then all of a sudden they hear a knock at the door, and they go look out the peephole, and they see the man and the woman who were supposed to pick up the briefcase at the airport. And as soon as they see them, Lloyd goes, did you pay the gas bill? Harry goes, I forgot. He goes, do you realize what you've done? Because they see the guy with a gun. So next thing we know, they're jumping out the window, and we see them come running out from around here. And then it cuts to them at nighttime. Now once they come running out of here, Lou, quote unquote, the gas man, decides to send them a message by messing up their apartment. But the apartment's pretty messed up, so the only thing he can do is take the parakeet and take its head off, unfortunately. So then we get the night shot of them both arriving here, and Harry says, I can't believe there's not one job in this town. And Lloyd says, yeah, unless you want to work 40 hours a week. So Lloyd says, I'm gonna go ahead and go to the store. And Harry says, Lloyd, we got no money left, so you gotta buy just the bare essentials. Lloyd says, who are you talking to, man? And next thing you know, we see Lloyd coming back from the store, which is only a block away from here, so let's go take a look at where that was. So right here is actually where we see Lloyd. He's walking, he's got a couple of cases of beer, an oversized cowboy hat, some pinwheels, all kinds of stuff. The way you can tell is when he's passing by here, even though it was all white and everything, you can see this little trim down at the bottom, because the way the angle was and everything, the camera lens, you can see that this was all white and everything, and that they have put some glass in a little bit here, redone the building a little bit. But this is when he's passing by there and he sees the Rhode Island Slut newspaper machine. He decides to get one of the magazines, and when he's pulling out the little newspaper thing, he accidentally leaves his wallet in there, and he goes, cripes! Right then, a little old lady in a motorized cart comes riding by, and he stops her and asks her if she can watch his stuff while he goes to get some more change for $1. And she says, yeah, and he goes, I guess it is true what they say. Even though old, you still can serve a purpose. Now don't you go dying on me, okay? So he takes off. Their apartment is actually right there. That's how close it was. So when Lloyd comes back, he slams the door, and Harry says, "Where's the booze?" He says, "I got robbed by a little old lady in a motorized cart, and I didn't even see it coming." Harry starts kind of like whining and everything, and he goes, "Well, it gets worse, Lloyd. You know Petey, my bird? His head fell off. Yeah, he was pretty old." And Lloyd goes, "What are we doing here, Harry? We got no money, we got no food, our pets' heads are falling off. We gotta go somewhere where we know someone that'll plug us into the social pipeline. Somewhere like Aspen." He goes, "You just want to go find that lady with the briefcase and you want me to drive you there, right?" He goes, So they decide to do it. They start out on their road trip, and then while they're driving, Lloyd is eating some chips. And Harry says, "Where'd you get those chips, Lloyd? I thought we were supposed to talk about all expenditures." He goes, "I was able to raise a little bit of extra money before we left. 25 extra bucks. And Harry goes, "How'd you raise 25 extra bucks, Lloyd?" Lloyd says, "I sold some stuff." "What did you sell?" "A few comic books, a bag of marbles, Petey." He said, "Petey? You sold my dead bird? To who?" "Billy in 4C. You sold my dead bird to the blind kid in 4C? He didn't have a head, Lloyd." Lloyd says, "Harry, I took care of it." And then you see poor Billy sitting out here petting his new parakeet that's head is held on by scotch tape. And poor little Billy sitting there going, "Pretty bird, pretty bird." What a wacky movie. All right, I wanted to see this place so bad. Now we've seen it. Now we have 10 hours of driving to do today. Let's hit the road. I did just drive past this, and I thought this was really cool. I think it's something that is a talent that is not acknowledged far enough. Being a luthier, person that makes guitars and violins and stringed instruments. Real art to it, and I love that they have a statue here. I do hope someday in the future I'll get to do a full filming locations vlog of that movie, but there's just too much of the movie spread out across Utah, and I just don't have time today. I just really wanted to see at least their apartment building. That was a big deal to me. I like the look of that diner. That's great. Daze. Old school. Beautiful drive today. Even though we do have a lot of ground to cover today, never make an excuse to not enjoy the beauty of America. This really cool scenic turnoff, so I had to take advantage of it. Look at that. The homes over there. Talk about living in solitude, man. Hello, Wyoming. My first time here. My only real reference to you, Wyoming, is that when I was a kid watching a Garfield cartoon, he was putting together a puzzle of the United States and couldn't find the piece for Wyoming, so he just made up the name and wrote in Wyoming. Is that really how it happened? Let's go explore your fine state. So a big chunk of what we're doing today is on Route 80, if you're following along with your map. Where we're trying to get to now is Rawlins, Wyoming. There's a couple of things in that town I'd like to check out. All right, we're going into the side of a mountain again. Two times in 2 days. I don't know why, these always make me feel like I'm in a sci-fi movie. I literally just passed a sign that said Continental Divide. That is not something I expected to see today. And I'm sorry I couldn't show you. It really crept up on me. All right, folks, welcome to Rawlins, Wyoming. So we're actually stopping at this gas station on the left to see an oddity. So here it is, take a look. It's actually a car that the man who owns it created out of two junk cars. Actually took two halves, put them together. They have, it actually drives. He uses it in parades around here, but it goes in both directions, you notice? It actually has an engine, working engines, and steering wheels and car seats in both sides. How funny. I love it. Sometimes you just gotta, do things to keep yourself occupied. This is one of them. I love the idea. They said if it's not here when you come to visit, it's probably because he has it out having fun with it. Not gonna lie, I was very surprised when I looked off to the side of the road and was not expecting to see a big red sumo wrestler. But I always dig anything out of the ordinary, and that is definitely out of the ordinary. It's for a restaurant. They should have named him Yokozuna. This town's kinda, there's a lot. This must have been a tourist stop at one point because I'm seeing so many closed down old motels and hotels. We're at the Carbon County Museum. It's a bummer it's closed today because they have some pretty interesting stuff here. We can still walk around and look out here, but some of the things that I thought were interesting was that Thomas Edison made a very well-known trip around here and spent a week visiting this area, and that's when he invented the light bulbs. They have a whole room in their museum dedicated to that. Look at this, this is kind of interesting. Called book nooks. They actually built little nooks, like little libraries, into this tree. Kind of interesting. Like the Keebler elves live here. Now let me tell you the story of a man named Big Nose George, because George was a horse thief and train robber. After a botched holdup, he and his gang killed a couple of lawmen and fled to Montana. When George was brought back here to Rawlins, he was sentenced to hang for his crimes and then lynched by an impatient mob. He clung to the telegraph pole to save his neck, but gravity dragged him down. He choked to death, and his struggles, the noose rubbed off his ears. Now they said that when they went to put him in the coffin, his nose was so big that they actually had to force it down and nail the lid shut. Now he wasn't there long because apparently some people decided to go and steal George's body, hid it in a whiskey barrel. They wanted to study his brain, apparently. These were doctors that did it. And the doctor said, from what I understand, he was on a train and Big Nose George delayed the train and he missed his party. And so he did not like Big Nose George. His payback was special. He peeled the skin off of George's chest and thighs and had it made into a doctor's bag, a coin purse, and a pair of shoes. Half a pair of shoes, actually. The rest of the leather, the darker portion, was cut from the shoes that George was wearing when he choked to death. These are on display in the museum. So those are the shoes that were made out of Big Nose George's skin. And of course they have the Sinclair dyno here. And it's talking about in May of 1916, Harry Sinclair founded the Sinclair Oil and Refining Corporation. The company expanded its oil and gasoline production and increased its acquisitions by buying a refinery in Parco, Wyoming. Now home to the Sinclair refinery, Parco officially became Sinclair, Wyoming, 1942. Yeah, I would have loved to have seen that pair of shoes, and I would have loved to have seen the Edison room. It's kind of crazy. I just noticed this Radio Shack sign and the really old ones up here. I've never even seen the ones on the top. All right, our next location is right here at the Keg Saloon, still in Rawlins. So here's the mural. 1878, Edison came out here to view the solar eclipse, and he was also trying to test out a device that he made that could measure the temperature to a millionth of a degree if he pointed at the sun's corona. But when he got bored, or when he wasn't doing anything, he would go out fishing. So they have images of him fishing out here, but also it was during this time he was working on an idea of what he could use for filament in his experimental light bulb. When he went out fishing with his bamboo pole, that gave him the idea to use bamboo, which he did and then eventually phased out. So they actually have a young version of him here fishing when he would have been out here the first time and came up with the idea how to make the light bulb work. And then an older, successful Edison. Well, that's kind of cool. When's the last time you saw one of these old Coors beer signs like that? Coors on tap. All right, goodbye, Rawlins. We got to hit the road. We have a lot of driving to do. This is some absolutely beautiful country out here. It has been quite some time since I've seen another car. I'm loving it. Loving it! Hope you guys are too. Welcome to Gillette, Wyoming, my friends, the energy capital of the nation. At least they say so. I wanted to stop off here in Gillette because I saw that they had a little statue to rock, paper, scissors. And sure enough, there it is. Definitely a little wacky, but especially because the building right next to it is called GNR. I don't know, a lot of wacky stuff in this picture, but I love it. Got to check out stuff like this when you can find it. And stuff like that too. Oh wow, I'm kind of surprised to see that. I didn't realize I was going through Sundance, but that says, "Welcome to Sundance, where the kid got his name." I want to thank your Gypsy and Jamie Angus for making a contribution to my channel through Patreon. So the last thing that I wanted to share with you guys today was South Dakota. We made it, and we'll explore a little bit of South Dakota tomorrow. Thank you all for watching. If you're new here, please subscribe, please hit the like button, and please ring the bell for notifications. We'll see you all next time. Have a great night, and goodbye.